It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back, and look who I have here. Just me. Guys, welcome back. We are here to recap Real Housewives of Dallas, and normally I say, look who we have here, but today I don't really have anybody except for you guys, which is absolutely enough for me. Aiko Wong, something got caught in my throat. Aiko Wong, usually recaps the Real Housewives of Dallas with us, but she's moving right now, so let's wish her a really happy move. And then also, guys, we have Real Housewives of New Jersey, the recap coming right after this. I know, obviously, Real Housewives of Dallas plays on Tuesday night, and we were going to recap it yesterday, but things came up, so what better day to do it than Thursday? And then as far as Jersey, we're right on time. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, and I say let's jump right in. I'm also, real quick, going to drop the call-in link. If anybody does want to join me, you're more than welcome to call in and join me. And yeah, let's get started. So guys, we start off this episode sort of the same place that we left off. And I feel like I always say that, but that's actually what happened. That's how episodes work, right? Deandra ends up getting mad and storming away from the table because she doesn't want to hear it anymore. She's obviously so frustrated with Carrie. There's something that's not working with this friendship and a lot of miscommunication. When Deandra gets up and walks away, she goes back to her room and refuses to come back out for the rest of the night. Of course, what would a housewives trip be if one of the housewives doesn't get up and storm out, almost sort of like a reunion when they do the same thing? Deandra knows that it offers that cinematic effect, so she's going to do it, and whatever, it is what it is. Deandra refuses to come back out, but calls her man, and he ends up giving her the advice, letting her know, listen, you can't sit in a corner and get beat up without eventually fighting back. I don't know who's beating up who anymore at this point, though. I know that Carrie's really rough on Deandra, and I know that Carrie goes in, she picks and she prods, and, she is relentless in her own way, but she seems like she's that way because she's also hurting. I know that she said this time and time again, but this is something as friends, Carrie and Deandra, they should be able to sort of pick out in each other. But maybe, I'm just playing devil's advocate, maybe it's the simple fact that they both are going through something at the exact same time that they can't put their stuff aside and realize that the other person is hurting. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. Guys, moving on, once they end up getting up and walking away, Tiffany's sitting there and she's having a good time, at least she thinks, until the girls have their way with her. The girls end up yelling at Tiffany, letting her know that, one, her house party was ridiculous. Tiffany walked around and told the women, you're going to leave by 10:30. These are the rules. Don't do this. Don't act this way. You have to be this way. If you do something wrong the first time, this is your first warning. The second time this happens, like walking in through the house, kind of treating them like they're small children. Not only does she do that, but she also corrects everyone in the group if they say something grammatically incorrect. Listen, I do it all the time. I wouldn't care if you corrected me. And I know Jason's sitting in the other room right now and he's like, yeah, right, I correct you all the time. And you get so frustrated. That's different. That's because it's Jason. But if it was Tiffany Moon, well, no, I'd probably get frustrated with her too. I think that I get her point though. She's just trying to help them. She's trying to educate the women, trying to keep them up to speed, making sure that they don't walk around and act or sound illiterate. Okay. I mean, what's the problem with that? Especially if she has good intentions, but it doesn't seem like Cameron Westcott, Brandi, it doesn't seem like the women think that she has the good intentions. I want to get to the Brandi thing in a moment because that's what I made the thumbnail about. Again, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. And I'm going to drop this link one more time, see if you guys want to call in. Danielle Marie said, I felt so bad for Tiffany. Donna Harris said, Carrie is mean. She's always been mean. Deandra is too self-absorbed. Okay. All right. Yeah. I was going to say something. Oh, okay. I'll move on. Anyways, they end up partying all night. Carrie parties way too hard. And I have noticed about the housewives, the drinking thing is obviously always in play, right? But some of them take it to a whole new level. Carrie can control herself. I mean, she's a drinker. She's a partier. She can, I mean, semi-control herself. She still looked like sort of a drunk mess like we all would at the end of the night. But most of us would pass out after a certain point. Pass out, act like a fool, do something. She just has the time of her life. She can handle her tequila like no other. And hey, for her, good for you. Deandra, though, I want to talk about her because a lot of fans, a lot of Bravo super fans were super concerned watching her on this episode. Her pill bag is worse than Lisa Rinna's. She has pills and medicines from all over the place. And even her boyfriend, or well, her guy said, you know, the best thing about being with Deandra is the fact that it's kind of like having a human pharmacy. I have all of the pain medication. I have all the medication that I want. Okay, well, hello, that's probably not a good thing. Even Tiffany Moon, when she was sitting there talking to Deandra about all the medicine that she takes, she's like, listen, I grew up on both sides of the spectrum. I grew up with my parents trying to teach me Eastern medicine, and I grew up studying Western medicine. So I get both sides, but I don't necessarily know if all of this is going to help you and if you should be consuming this much medication. As soon as Tiffany said that, and she has the MD backing her name, of course, all of the fans came out and they were like, yeah, she shouldn't be using those pills and she takes too many drugs and somebody needs to check. It's like, whoa, calm down, guys. Calm down. Give her a break. We don't know what's actually going on with Deandra, and somebody prescribed her that. So back up. We don't know what's on those pill bottles. I do want to point out one thing, though. Speaking of pills, there was this medication called Zofran. And Zofran, I think I'm saying it right. Zofran is used to help you if you have motion sickness. And it seemed like Brandi Redmond came prepared. She had Zofran on the bus on the way over, and now she has it while they're on the boat. She starts passing out the Zofran, and her name is on the prescription bottle, but I thought that was illegal. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble here, but I thought you legally were not allowed to share any sort of medication with somebody whose name is not on that bottle. I could be wrong, but if somebody knows, please say that in the say it in the chat. Again, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. If you guys know if you're not allowed to share your prescribed medication, I want to know. Share it in the chat. But Brandi Redmond still does. She shares the medication, and she eventually, I mean, she got offended. I don't know why she got offended. We're going to get into it. She shares the medication on the bus, and then on the boat, she shares it again. Dr. Tiffany Moon notices that it is a totally different medication. It's not the same size, same shape. It's a little off. It's not the same medication. All of a sudden, it's like fast forward 90 seconds. She passes out the Zofran to everybody, and Tiffany Moon makes her not an assessment, but she makes her observation. Tiffany Moon makes her observation. And then 90 seconds later, Brandi Redmond's crying. Crying over what? She said that she felt like Tiffany kind of was trying to make it seem like she was passing out drugs to everybody. And if that were the case, then she's not happy with that. Tiffany didn't insinuate that at all. She didn't insinuate that she's passing out drugs. She didn't insinuate that it was anything other than Zofran. She completely made an innocent observation. That's all it was. She was the only one technically qualified to make the observation. This is what she does for a living. Did I think that there was, any element of shade there? No, absolutely not. I think that she can be shady in a lot of other ways, but I don't think she was shading Brandi for the medication. And Brandi seems to be a little bit in her feelings. I do want to touch on that too here in a little bit, but Stephanie made a good point. Stephanie Hollman said in this episode, Brandi is having this sort of disconnect from Tiffany Moon, and she doesn't know why. She feels like she cannot be her most authentic, fun-loving, like run around and be ridiculous, say what she wants to say, and kind of be that wild personality that she's been on the show for the past few years. Now that Tiffany Moon is in the mix, she feels like she has to walk the line. She doesn't want to say anything that's going to offend her. She doesn't want to say anything that's going to get her in more trouble because, mind you, she did check herself into a facility after she posted the video. And that video, guys, it was bad. I don't know if you guys remember, but the video, it's right here. She posted the video sitting there slanting her eyes back and making herself sound like she was not American. making herself sound like she was either Chinese, Korean. I don't know what she was trying to do. The point was, though, fans did not respond well to it, especially in today's climate. It's not okay to sit there and make fun of anybody, especially, I mean, when they're from a different country, culture, religion, ethnicity, sexuality. It doesn't matter. You can't make fun of them. And she suffered the ramifications of that. She said that at one point she almost contemplated taking her own life. So obviously this was a big deal for Brandi. And I think that, again, Stephanie hit the nail on the head. She said this is not a Tiffany Moon problem. At this point, this is a Brandi Redmond problem. Brandi's struggling with how she feels and how to kind of cope with her actions and move forward without feeling any more guilt or remorse. But with that, I want to move forward. Brandi did do one thing right, though. She, in this episode, used the technique, these different techniques that they use in treatment that she learned in her facility, and she implemented this on Deandra and Carrie. She made them both put their hands on their chest, or technically their boobs, and they had to say something that they liked about each other. They had to go to that vulnerable place and talk about why they actually like being friends with each other. And honestly, for these two ladies, I didn't think this was a bad exercise. I thought this was actually a really good exercise because I didn't see any reconciliation happening in the future with them at all. So, Brandi, while you might be sort of contriving these storylines and really trying to go out of your way to make something that there's not with Tiffany Moon, this we can applaud you for. That is just a little annoying. But I don't want to sit here and be biased. I don't want to be biased. Again, guys, Brandi does point out that she's being hypersensitive about Tiffany Moon being around, and that was after her scandal. But we're hoping that Stephanie is going to be able to help her sort of navigate this. They end up, well, I was going to say they end up going out to dinner, but I skipped a part. Guys, again, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. My nose is so itchy today. I wanted to see if you guys answered that. There are state and federal laws that make it illegal. Yes. See, about the pills. It is not recommended. Oh, let me take that photo off. It is not recommended and highly discouraged, but not illegal unless selling it. WB and RN certified. Okay. Brandi is paranoid because she's shown her ASS to be ignorant. Well, stop being ignorant. Problem fixed. Brandi is very sensitive. She is pregnant while filming. Okay, that's a good point too. She was pregnant while filming. We can take that into consideration. Moving forward, again, they went out and they started. Well, I don't know if you guys watch Real Housewives of New Jersey, but Real Housewives of New Jersey and Real Housewives of Dallas was sort of on par this past week. They had these kind of camping excursions where they had the bonfires. And at this point, Cameron Westcott wants to get everyone back. She ends up having everyone go down to the bonfire. They're all sitting there talking, and they want to share these scary stories. I thought it was hilarious that she uses, this is, what did she say? This is frightening. Oh my gosh, this is frightening as her trigger word. When she's telling the guy to dress up like Jason and run out from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and scare all of the women, the guy looks like he's so bored with the conversation. But then she's like, okay, so when I say this is frightening, I need you to run out. So when they're telling the stories, she says it about 4, 5, maybe even 6 times. Wow, this is frightening. Yeah, this is, oh my God, girls, this is frightening. And then boom, he comes running out, giving Cameron Westcott the title of being the best prankster in the group, even though technically she's not the one who orchestrated the prank. But okay, we'll give it to her. We'll give it to her this episode, and we'll just leave it at that. I was going to say Tiffany, Cameron, and Stephanie the next day go on a hike while Carrie, Deandra, and Brandi stay by the water to drink. The conversations were great, though, because when Tiffany, Cameron, and Stephanie go on this hike, Cameron and Stephanie talk about how they want to sort of step out of their marriages. They want to step out of their marriages from the role of being that traditional housewife, and they want to start entering sort of a business world, a world where they have their own identity, they have their own thing going on. And when the kids are out of the house, they're not sitting there at home bored. I get that. For Tiffany Moon, it's the complete opposite. She is not bored at home. She works 5 days a week, and she gets about an hour a day with her kids, which is terrible. She's going to go, well, she talks about it in this episode. She plans on going I think next episode, to go speak with her supervisor and get 1 day a week off. She wants to go down to 4 days a week. And for her, she said, you know how much I can get done in a day? I can go to lunch with my girlfriends. I can get my hair done. I can get my nails done. I can spend time with my kids. And I agree. Going from 5 days a week to 4 days a week, it doesn't sound like a lot, but absolutely for her, I think it is. I did want to ask a question, though, for anyone who is in the room. Cameron said when they went out to dinner later that night, she said, she said, oh, that's what it was. She said, I prefer assigned seats. And she's like, oh my God, guys, I'm sorry I didn't assign the seats. I prefer assigned seats. What do you guys think? I'm like, I wouldn't care if I go out to a friend function or any sort of event and there's no assigned seats. Honestly, I would prefer there not to be assigned seats, because if there's an assigned seat and there's somebody sitting next to me or across from me and I don't want to sit next to them, I don't want to be confined to being across or next to the person that I don't want to sit next to. Do you understand? So for me, my stance is no assigned seats. But for Stephanie, for Cameron, for Brandi, for these women, I think that they like it. Danielle Marie said, I wouldn't care, LOL. Yeah, I don't think I would care really either, but I think I would prefer not to have it. Yeah, guys, this episode was kind of I don't want to say it was an amazing episode. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst episode ever. I was able to breeze through this episode on the recap only because after watching it, I was like, there's not too much that happened except for Brandi reaching in and trying to go in on Tiffany Moon. I didn't know why she was trying to go in on Tiffany Moon, and I still don't to this day, only because you just went through this whole race scandal thing. Why are you going after Tiffany Moon, this woman who sat across from you? The first time she met you, she actually pulled you to the side. She said that she saw your video. She said what it meant to her, and she said that she, in her heart of hearts, can look at Brandi in the face and she doesn't feel like there is any malice or hate in her heart and that she is at all a racist. So if Tiffany Moon feels that, Brandi, what are you doing? I know that somebody just said in the comments, well, you know, she's pregnant and that's probably why, but it just seems like a bad move. We know that Brandi Redmond will not be coming back to the Real Housewives of Dallas for season 6. She's already made that clear, even though we're only halfway through this season. But in all curiosity, I wonder why. I wonder if it just took the fun out of it for her adding Tiffany Moon. She felt like she couldn't be her most authentic self with the group anymore. I wonder if it was just the fact that her family grew and now she has other priorities. Honestly, she's had a tough year. She had to go check herself into a facility. She lost her mother-in-law in a car accident that her daughter was a part of. This was a big year for her. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes from that. And I'm sure we'll hear more about it at the reunion. Guys, this was she was probably joking. Again, this was a shorter recap, but if you guys haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. We're coming back, though, at 12 o'clock Eastern. So in about 40 minutes, we're coming back to recap the Real Housewives of New Jersey, which I'm actually really excited about because even though Dallas has a good start to it, it's okay. I like Tiffany Moon. I'm not obsessed. Real Housewives of New Jersey, I could sit there and watch all day. From season 1 all the way to this season, I could watch it all day. So don't forget to join me, guys, because it's going to be a lot of fun. See you next time. Well, in 40. Bye, guys.